Again, the levels of complicity in this criminal conspiracy are mind-boggling. That whole organization needs to be thrown away. Like, really. All the people who were involved in this whole thing, the ones who were actively involved and the ones who passively sat by and allowed it to happen as though it couldn't happen to them. Or maybe that's what their fear was. Their fear is that if they said anything on the behalf of Ray or just on the behalf of righteousness,
There's
that they
repercussions.
would be caught up in it too.
Yes. And that's why a lot of people never came forth. That's why a lot of people never came forth, my brother. It's because of the fact that they was afraid. And I can't blame them, you know. A
No.
lot of these people, you know, I mean, look what happened to me. Because
Right.
I stood up against right. I stood up against the wrong. I stood for right. So how can I be wrong? I didn't take on that job to treat people nasty. I took on that job, man, to take care of me and my wife and kids, to have a good job, a good benefit, and hopefully one day be retire.
Right.
How about this? There's not, out of my mother and my father, siblings, the only person got a high school diploma is my mother. My
Right.
dad didn't have a high school. He dropped out in 3rd grade, couldn't read or write, couldn't even spell his own name. His brother, my Uncle Johnny, he don't have a high school diploma. Uncle Randolph didn't have a high school diploma. Uncle Johnny didn't have a high school diploma. Aunt Lorraine didn't have a high school diploma. Aunt Rutha May didn't have a high school diploma. And on my mother's side, my aunt sister didn't have a high school diploma. My aunt Mary didn't have a. I could just go on with the list, my brother. None of them had an education. And it's a shame, it's a disgrace that these people, man, that do the things that they've done to me and think that, you know, it's okay. It's not okay. But one thing is for sure, I don't have to worry about any of them. And even when I went to Internal Affairs and I filed a complaint with the sergeant who told me that he was going to investigate the case, Sergeant Charles Take, he said that he'd had complaints from other individuals about those same people who arrested me. And may God be my witness. Do you not know he never did a thorough investigation? But he took my 911 tape and gave it to the same people who arrested me? It's in the book.
I mean, all the craziness, man, like the craziness that you was around, bro. I don't see how you didn't start drinking a lot sooner.
Well,
I mean,
one thing is
not
for
to make
sure,
light of it.
man,
The
you know,
gambling, the planting drugs, the taking payment from people suspected of committing crimes or falsifying documents, the theft of over $500,000 of inmate commissary by your co-workers, the Broward County Sheriff's Office. I mean, bro, like what the, bro?
Exactly. And know what? How about this? When I came home, I went back and did my own investigation. Because once I got my investigative license, I did my own investigation. Would you believe that every time they said I was going to these various states, I was at work?
That's crazy too. I mean, how are you going to put something on someone and put them in a certain time, space, and a place, and you're part of the organization that they're part of? You know exactly where they are at that time. What type of stupidity is that?
And that's the thing, and that's why I thank God for Sergeant Booker. You know, that's another brother that I love, man. You know, him and King, you know, some of these people that have actually been there by my side. My mother's 73 years of age right now, my brother. And
Bless her.
she's still trying to find a job.
Oh, wow.
You
That's
understand
crazy.
me? 73 years of
That's
age right
crazy.
now, and she's trying to find a job, you know, when in fact, because the Social Security is not enough to take care of her. So therefore, my wife and I, we do our best to take care of her. And I'm saying to myself, this is crazy. But let me show you something. Look.
Statement taken by Sergeant Joseph Fitzpatrick of the Broward Sheriff's Office. I'm the lead investigator in charge of this internal investigation. You are being questioned as a subject employee in an official investigation by the Broward Sheriff's Office. Statement will be taken in reference to Office of Professional Compliance case number, and I'll give that to you in a few minutes. Actually, anyone, professional compliance case number is 10-01-0816. Regarding a complaint has been made against you that you detect that you violated policy procedures of the Broward Sheriff's Office. Statement will be taken from last name of Brown, Brown, first name is Bernard, BER, and ARD. CCN is 8636. He's a deputy sheriff assigned to District 5. This interview is being conducted in the Office of Professional Compliance on March 8, 2002 at 1344. Also present is Richard Diaz. He's the attorney representing the interests of Deputy Brown. Deputy Brown, would you state your full name, classification, CCN, and your current assignment, please?
Bernard Brown, 8636 is my CCN, Deputy Sheriff, currently assigned to District 5, Incorporated, Broward County.
Right. Deputy Brown, have I identified myself as law enforcement officer? Do you understand this?
Yes.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear or affirm your statement about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and lower your hand. Deputy Brown, I want to review some departmental policies and procedures with you briefly here. 2.2.47, employees will promptly obey the lawful orders of a supervisor. This will include orders related from a superior by an employee of the same or lesser rank. 2.2.43, employees will not make false statements in any communication, verbal or written, concerning official matters. And 2.2.6a, a deputy will not interfere with the investigation of a case assigned to another deputy. And 2.2.3a, employees will cooperate with internal investigations as stated in the Policy and Procedures Manual and in accordance with law. Paragraph.
So,
Participating in the investigation will not willfully disclose any information obtained from the investigation before the complaint, document, or action becomes a public record. Participants, including the investigation, are complainant, subject of investigation, investigator conducting the investigation, any witness in the investigation, and see internal investigation cases are considered active until they become public record in the Florida statutes. Deputy Brown, you are required to give a statement for administrative purposes. You will be asked questions specifically, directly, and narrowly related to the performance of your official duties and or continued fitness for duty. I further advise you that if you refuse to fully and completely answer questions related to the performance of your official duties or fitness for duty, your actions will be deemed to be insubordination. For this act alone, you may be subject to departmental discipline up to and inclusive of termination. This is a compelled statement. You are being ordered to give this statement. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Deputy Brown, you are entitled to have an attorney or other representative.
so,
Yes.
so this is Joseph Fitzpatrick questioning Bernard Brown, but he signed a sworn affidavit on the penalty of perjury, the sergeant, right, and said that BSO was not custodian of the tape. They didn't have it in their possession, and they didn't. So how can that be when you calling him in and you question him in internal affairs? But at no time did they ever call me in and give me a guaranteed statement like they did him, right, to determine whether or not I committed these crimes. But yet still, you got this person here who's testifying. And when you listen to the whole tape, and I do have it that I can provide to you guys, you'll hear him testifying to the fact about the situation that happened to me. He admitted by his own admission that it was him on the audio tape giving the information they said I gave.
Wow. And IA knew that. The district attorney knew that. Shit, the judge may have even known that. Your superiors certainly knew that. Those that did want to know, and those that didn't hear it directly, they certainly were aware that that existed. They just, I guess, thought it made them less complicit not listening to it. This doesn't even sound real, bro. I'm glad you got all your paperwork and all that. The idea that there could be this degree of corruption in a major law enforcement organization is one of the most disturbing things that any person who's living a normal life in this society could hear, bro. The only people who want to hear that this type of thing is going on within a law enforcement organization are criminals, because it makes it more likely that they will be able to continue to do what they do without, any type of interdiction or interruption. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy, bro.
And that's what I'm saying. And as a matter of fact, it says right here, okay, I got it right here on my phone. These are the documents that I sent to the state attorney's office. It says here, Raymond Hicks plaintiff versus Kenneth C. Jennett as sheriff for Broward County. It says, the state of Florida, the county of Broward. Before me resigned, and then it goes on. But I have the document right here that I was just telling you about with Joseph Fitzpatrick basically saying with his signature. Here's the document, and with his signature right here, stating that BSO was not custodial of the tape. They couldn't find it, and it was not in their possession. I'll read it to you. It says, before me, the undersigned authority personally appeared Joseph Fitzpatrick, who being by me first duly sworn on oath, deposed and says as follows. My name is Joseph Fitzpatrick. I am employed as a sworn law enforcement officer with the Broward Sheriff Office. I presently am the commander. He got promoted to commander of Internal Affairs Division at the Broward Sheriff Office. I have personal knowledge of the facts contained herein. The Broward Sheriff Office, through its Internal Affairs Division, as well as through the Records Division and Risk Management Division, has searched for the audio tape recording, which is the subject plaintiff, the plaintiff April 5th, 2006 motion to compel and subsequent orders. The Broward Sheriff Office has not located the tape and is not presently possession, custody, or control of the tape. The Broward Sheriff Office previously has produced a plaintiff all relevant tape recordings in its possession, custody, and control. Further affirm, and it says here with his and this is actually signed under penalty of perjury, with his signature at the bottom.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's perjury, bro.
So how could he say that the Broward Sheriff Office did not have the tape in their possession, and the risk management and the Division of Internal Affairs was not custodian of the tape, when in fact you called him in there and I just played the tape for you?
Mm-hmm. Yet he was promoted instead of being fired and then charged.
Absolutely. He went from a sergeant to a commander of Internal Affairs.
Now, that means he now has people under his command. That is how the cancer spreads.
Exactly. And that's why, like I explained to my wife and family, these people have literally wanted to kill me, man.
Oh, yeah.
But one thing is for sure, they know Raymond Hicks ain't running from nobody. Trust me when I tell you that. If it's my time to go, then it's my time to go. But I promise you on everything I love, I'm not going to lay down. And you're not going to just run up on me either, any kind of way you think you're going to run up on me, because that's why I gravitated to the Lord.
Right.
The word of God says, repay no evil for evil. By doing so, God said, vengeance is mine. I'll repay, said the Lord. He said, if the enemy's hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him a drink. By doing so, God said, it's like taking hot coals and placing them on the top of their head. So to be honest with you, listen, one thing is for sure about me, it's not my fight. It's not my fight. I'm like little David, who was a sheep herder that went up against Goliath. Goliath is the Broward Sheriff Office. They're a lot bigger than I am, just like Goliath was a lot bigger than David. But what they don't realize, my brother, and I tell you as a brother that love and respect both of you, is they fighting against my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And God is bigger than any man or any situation that exists on the face of this earth. So they can continue to try and do what they're going to do to me. And as they continue to try and destroy me, I'm going to continue to help save lives. And I'm going to stay on my knees praying.
My man. Do you still live in Broward?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not going anywhere.
How do your children feel about law enforcement today?
They can't stand them.
Understandable.
That's not right.
Bro, it's not. It's not. But you stick to it. You show them what they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to be. You show the people whom you come into contact with, the people who will watch this and all the other things that you put out there, the people who will read I'm Still Standing, your book, and be the example in the shining light that you were afforded the opportunity to survive your experiences in order to be.
Well, I can tell you, my brother, I'm so proud of my kids. I'm proud of my wife, my mother, my kids, you know, the people who stuck by me and my family, you know. I'm proud of those individuals, man. And, And it's just amazing to me because all of my kids have graduated high school. All of my kids have actually watched me be drug out of my home with handcuffed and shackles. And every last one of them have graduated high school and college with honors. My oldest daughter, she's 36 years of age. She's getting ready to get her doctorate degree right now at Nova Southeast University. She got a master's at Nova. She graduated magna cum laude. And she's a school teacher. She got a bachelor's degree at FAU. My youngest daughter graduated from Florida A&M with honors. She's a school teacher. My son, who was 4 years of age, he just got on with the United States Department of Homeland Security, through TSA at 20 years of age. My wife and I have been married for 37 years now, 39 years altogether. They made me strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, brother.
They made me stronger, man.
It took all of them to bring what they brought, and it still wasn't enough.
No. But I wish they could, back in the days, I wish they could have took us, man, and put each one of us in a room and made the best man win.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You understand me?
Yes, sir.
Made the best man win.
The best man did win.
Yeah.
And will continue to win.
Absolutely. You know why? Because I got people like Jason. I got people like, I could just keep on going on with the name Brian and all these other individuals that I've come in contact with. My wife would tell you, I'm talking about police officers who were contacting me that saw my video that was literally on the urge of taking their own lives. But I told them, I said, I got your 6, man. I got your 6. I'm going to stay on this phone until you get yourself together, man. I said, because look at me. I lost everything. I couldn't even feed my family. I applied for food stamps and unemployment, man. I couldn't even get it. I had to scrape up every nickel, quarter, dime, and penny to put food on my table. But through it all, and I prayed and I said, Lord, you said in your word that you've never seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging bread. And the Spirit of the Lord said, go to the flea market. I went to the flea market and the brother gave me 3 $100 bills. A gentleman who I actually helped when he came through the county jail. And he remembered me. He said, Big Hicks, what's going on, man? I went to the flea market to see if I could run into a friend where I could borrow a couple of dollars to put food on my table, man. And ran into him, and he gave me 3 $100 bills. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I say this and I'll shut up. My wife and I, we just went to the conclave because I'm actually a member of Phi Beta Sigma of Gamma Gamma Sigma here in Fort Lauderdale. Would you believe that I won the highest award that has ever been won in the history of Phi Beta Sigma? I won 2 awards within 1 year. And it has never ever been done in the history of Phi Beta Sigma. And to be honest with you, my brother, when I tell you it was so hard for me, my kids, my wife, they thought I was going through undergrad because it was just that hard. But I was determined. And at one point, I was going to give up. And I said, no, I cannot give up. Because when you talk about culture for service and service for humanity, that's who I am. That's who I am. I want to make a difference. I want to make an impact in the lives of so many different people. I don't care if you're black, white, purple, green, or orange. It doesn't make a difference to me. And my foundation, which is the Raymond L. Hicks Foundation, LLC, I give back school materials, book bags. It's a big cookout, hamburgers, hot dogs, Coke, waters, juice, and everything else to the kids right now. I've been doing it for the last 8 years. And I work paycheck to paycheck, my brother. But I make it possible for me to do for these kids. You know why? Because I'm that same kid that grew up in the hood. My clothes came from the World Thrift. I went to bed with a ketchup sandwich, a mayonnaise sandwich. My mother worked 2 jobs. You understand me? I had to go to the corner store, tell Mr. Friendly to give me $1 worth of bologna and a loaf of bread. My mom said she'll see him on Friday. So to be honest with you, there's so many Raymond Hicks coming up in the hood. And the only thing I want to do is inspire them to let them know it's not where you come from, man. It's where you're going at in life. And to be honest with you, I thank God every day. When I was 17, I didn't even tell you about this. When I was an athlete, I shattered records. Football, basketball, and track. And I was better in basketball than I was in anything. And there I was. I asked my mom for a couple of dollars to get a hamburger and a Coke after the basketball game. But my mom didn't have it. She scraped all the change that she could muster up, and she made 2 peanut butter sandwiches and put it in the Piggly Wiggly bag, the brown paper bag, and she wrapped it up for me. And I put it in my bag where I had my clothes and everything. When everybody got off the bus going to McDonald's, I stayed on the bus. I didn't even have enough money to get me a drink. So I stayed on the bus and I ate my peanut butter sandwiches until the coach found out about it. Coach Ron Davenport, he says, Ray, from this point on, you get off this bus. I'm going to pay for your dinner. When I went to college, my mom had to scrape up $99. I got on that bus for 3 days and 3 nights. I had no food, no water, no nothing. Only thing I had was a black Foot Locker. And I got on that bus and I stayed there for 3 days and 3 nights on that Greyhound bus going to Missouri. And when we got to Nashville, Tennessee, there was an older white lady. She said, young man, you've been on this bus for the last 3 days and 3 nights with me, and I haven't seen you eat anything. But my mother always said to me as a kid, if you're hungry, go in there and drink a lot of water because that water gonna make you feel full. And that's what I did. And that lady gave, that older white lady, thank God for her, she gave me a bologna sandwich and a bologna sandwich and a banana. And I swear to God, you thought I was eating a porterhouse steak, man. But I thank God for this lady because, to be honest, and when I got to college, man, let me tell you something. I didn't have no more problems. I bought my mother and father the first 2 cars. And had I stayed in college, I would have been an All-American at Missouri Southern State University because I was shedding all kind of records. My freshman year, I was running for Rookie of the Year award. My sophomore year, I broke all the Russian records. Going into my junior year, I became an All-American. And I left school because my wife went into the Navy on a delayed entry program. And the only way we could stop her from going to Scotland was to get her pregnant. And she was stationed at Pascagoula, Mississippi. And that's where we got married at, January 10th of 1986. So to be honest with you, man, everything I've gone through, you know, my wife and
It's all right, brother.
I tell you, don't put your hands on me, man. You know, I don't care who you are. Brother, cousin, uncle, sister, they don't make a difference. Don't put your hands on me, man.
That's right.
No, don't put your hands on me because I'm going to make you kill me. You understand me? But I threw it all. I had to let that old Hicks go, man. You know? I had to let him go. Because
he served his purpose.
Absolutely.
Now it's time for the new Hicks to serve that purpose.
Yes, which is saving lives.
That's
and still letting people know in law enforcement. I still love law enforcement to this day. And would you believe, I say this and I'm done. I'd shut up. Everywhere I've gone, I won a life-saving award while I was an inmate. And I was honored by the warden of the institution. A brother who actually shot in his head many years ago had seizures. And the officer walked out the unit and left the unit unattended. And he swallowed his tongue. That dude had real bad seizures, man. And big homie, they calling me. I ran out to the rec yard. There he was. Tongue done lodged in the back of his throat. Cut off his airway. When the officer got there, guess what? There I am with him rolled onto his side out and went in his mouth, put his tongue out, you know, to clear his airway. And they hurried up and took him downstairs. They give me a life-saving award.
As an inmate.
As an inmate. It's in the back of the book.
Yeah, I know.
And then all of a sudden, I get on with the Department of Homeland Security. When I get on with them, I win another life-saving award. A gentleman hung himself because they told him they were going to deport him back to his country. He told them that he was going to kill himself. They thought he was joking. I happened to be going around checking in short stay, and when I'm checking the infirmary, there he is hanging. I called for the officer to open the door. They opened the door. I run in because I was a lieutenant. I run in and push him up, and Deputy Romero, he panicked. And I had to scream at him to get him out of that panic mode, you know, for him to get up there and untie the noose. And I'm honored by Washington, D.C. So to be honest with you, man, you know, it's all these things. Then I'm working on the rail downtown Miami as a security officer. All of a sudden, this young 32-year-old white male, I get up, they call me to the platform. When I get there on the radio, I see this white gentleman, he with his head on the floor in a fetus position. He was on his knees and his forehead was on the floor. So I shake him and there's no response. So I shake him again, no response. So I roll him over on the concrete. I check for pulse. There's no pulse. I look over to the left. There's a syringe with an orange cap. So what I do, I get back over the air. Listen, I need EMS respond code 3. I have an approximate age. I gave an approximate age, a white male, and I begin to do CPR on him. And within about 8 minutes, paramedics arrived and they took over but I kept checking for a pulse, and I kept doing CPR on him until the pulse was faint. And when paramedics arrived 8 minutes later, they hooked him up with IV and everything, and they gave him Narcan. Within about 2 or 3 minutes, he woke right up, like nothing ever happened to him.
Right.
I win a life-saving award, and then I'm promoted to captain, and then I was named Officer of the Year. So how is it that I'm a menace to society?
It's funny because everything that those former coworkers and just people in that space, that law enforcement space, all the things that you've shared with us that they've done actually makes them the menace to our society.
Exactly.
It's a weird world, brother. How can people contact you, and where can they get your book, I'm Still Standing?
The way they can contact me is actually through my email address, which is raymondhicks2305@gmail.com. I'm on social media under Raymond Hicks. I'm also on Instagram under Raymond Hicks, I'm Still Standing. They can order the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, online. It's on the Kindle Fire, and it's also an audio book. So Amazon have made a ton of money off of my book because from what I've been told, the audio book is a bestseller. And I know that at some point in time, when my book is actually placed inside the stores instead of being sold online, that book is going to go out. It's going to take off like a rocket, you know?
Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing, and it will. There aren't that many physical bookstores anymore, but the few that do exist, they're big. So you get it in there, you're going to do very well, especially if you keep doing, interviews like this.
It's just, I thank God for you brothers, man. I just want to tell you brothers that I love you, man. Hey, Vlad, I know you're not on, but hopefully when you watch this video, man, I want to thank you, and your whole entire staff for affording me an opportunity to speak about me and the ordeal that me and my wife and kids have gone through for the last 21 years now. I've been saying the same thing for 21 years, man. And there's nothing that changed about my story, and I'm grateful to God, man, that, but I also thank God for a lot of people, man, that have taken initiative, like Mr. Tom Devine, Robert Ward, Terry Watson, Miss Jane Turner, Mr. Matthew Cox, Mr. Bobby Latigar, Mr. Mike Zoomer, Miss Sarah, my man Kent Jacobs, Mr. Paul, how you pronounce his last name? Bongalo? Yeah, Bongalo, and some of the other people that I've been in contact with, man, and Kent, I love this brother, man, Kent Jacobs. He's the one that actually, was able to reach out to Vlad in order for me to be here today, man. And he heard my story and he reached out to me. And there's also hopefully a movie that's going to be coming out soon, man, about my life. And I just hope and pray that my story, my family story, can inspire others. And you know what's amazing? My wife and my kids haven't even spoke yet.
Mm.
I can only imagine when they speak.
That's going to be heavy. Yes. I thank you, my brother. You travel wisely.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, my brother, man. I love you, and you continue to do what you're doing, man. It's a wonderful job, and trust me, you're destined for this, for what you're doing. And the reason why I say that is because, number one, you did your research. I could tell that you did your research in reference to before you and I even spoke, And not only that, you're very articulate with your words and how you speak, man, So I know that God will continue to take you to levels that you hadn't seen before. And I say the same thing to you that I said to Matthew Cox. I told Matt, you don't have to go back the way that you came. I said, because God is going to take you to levels that you've never seen before. So I just want to say to you all, man, blessing to Vlad TV, and each and every last one of you brothers, man, and I pray that God continue to bless you guys' platform. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Love you back, my brother. Peace.
Peace.